The wind howled a mournful dirge through the lonely crags that hemmed in Treneglwys, a village nestled deep within the emerald embrace of Wales. Here, in a ramshackle shepherd's cottage christened Twt y Cymrws, a shadow had fallen upon a young couple, Evan and Morwenna. Blessed with twins, a boy and a girl, their joy had curdled into a curdling unease. One crisp morning, as the sun cast a golden sheen upon the dew-kissed fields, Evan ventured out with his flock. Morwenna, usually content in the cocoon of her home, felt an unsettling tug at her heart. News of strange lights flitting across the moors and disembodied laughter echoing through the glens had reached her ears. The whispers spoke of the fae, mischievous creatures who revelled in stealing human children, leaving behind pale imitations in their stead. Despite her misgivings, a plea from a neighbour, her closest confidante struck down by illness, demanded her presence. Morwenna, torn between duty and a mother's fierce protectiveness, lingered at the doorway, casting one last worried glance at the slumbering babes in the cradle. With a heavy heart, she set off, the wind seeming to murmur a dire warning through the ancient oaks. Her journey was fraught with apprehension. Every rustle of leaves, every flitting shadow sent shivers down her spine. Finally, she reached her neighbour's bedside, only to find the illness had passed as swiftly as it had come. Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. As she hurried back, heart pounding with the need to see her children safe, a sight froze her blood. 3 figures, cloaked in an unnatural cerulean light, their faces obscured by impossibly long shadows, darted across the path ahead. The midday sun, usually a beacon of warmth, seemed to dim in their presence. Morwenna quickened her pace, a silent prayer escaping her lips. Bursting into the cottage, she rushed to the cradle. The babes lay peacefully, seemingly untouched. Yet a gnawing suspicion, cold and sharp, burrowed into her heart. Days bled into weeks, and the disquietude festered. The twins, unlike thriving infants, remained unchanged, their faces devoid of the spark of life that usually illuminates a child's eyes. A dreadful truth began to take root in Morwenna's mind. The fae had taken their children. Evan, a man of stoic resolve, dismissed her anxieties, but the gulf between them widened with each passing day. Morwenna, consumed by a mother's grief and a growing certainty of their plight, felt the walls of Twt y Cymrws closing in on her. Sleep offered no solace, haunted by the vacant stares of her changeling children. One starless night, desperation gnawed at her. She remembered tales of the Wise Man of Llanidloes, a hermit rumoured to possess otherworldly knowledge. With a heart heavy with a weight far exceeding any physical burden, she set out at dawn, the rising sun a mere sliver of hope in the inky canvas of the sky. The journey was arduous, the path treacherous. Yet Morwenna pressed on, fueled by a mother's unwavering love. Finally, she reached the wise man's abode, a ramshackle hut perched precariously on a windswept cliff. The wizened hermit, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of countless moons, listened intently to her tearful narrative. A sliver of a smile played on his lips as he spoke of an ancient test. The harvest was nigh, and with it came the custom of a celebratory meal for the reapers. He instructed Morwenna to prepare a miniature pottage, not in a clay pot, but in the fragile shell of a hen's egg. This peculiar dish, he explained, would be the key. The day of the harvest arrived, the air thick with anticipation. Morwenna, her heart hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs, meticulously prepared the pottage, holding the eggshell aloft, its fragility a stark contrast to the enormity of her task. She feigned offering it to unseen harvesters. Her ears strained for any sound, any indication that would betray the true nature of the beings in the cradle. Then, a voice, like the tinkling of a wind chime, broke the tense silence. It was one of the twins, yet the words that tumbled out of his mouth sent shivers down Morwenna's spine. He spoke in riddles, boasting of a time before mighty oaks sprouted from acorns and plump hens laid eggs, but never had he encountered such a peculiar sight, a meal served in an eggshell. This was the confirmation Morwenna craved, a chilling validation of her worst fears. With a surge of adrenaline that belied her trembling limbs, she snatched the twins and sprinted towards the beckoning expanse of Lake Elvin, its surface a mirror reflecting the turmoil in her heart. The changelings, startled out of their usual lethargy, began to wail, their cries echoing eerily in the crisp mountain air. But Morwenna pressed on, fueled by a primal urge to reclaim her stolen babies. Just as she reached the water's edge, a gust of wind whipped through the air, swirling the leaves into a frenzy. The air shimmered, and before Morwenna's startled eyes, the three figures from the path materialized. They were no longer cloaked in shadow, but revealed in all their grotesque glory, wizened forms contorted into malevolent smiles, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly malice. "Foolish mortal," rasped one, his voice like nails scraping slate. "You dare challenge the Fae?" Panic threatened to consume Morwenna, but the sight of the changelings, their faces morphing into masks of fear, steeled her resolve. With a defiant cry, she raised the twins high, their combined weight a stark contrast to the emptiness that had gnawed at her for weeks. "These are mine," she roared, her voice surprisingly strong. "Release my children and return what you stole." The Fae cackled, a sound that sent a flock of ravens scattering from the nearby trees. One of them stepped forward, his hand outstretched, a chilling blue light emanating from his fingertips. "The bargain cannot be undone. Human," he sneered. "These are ours now." But before he could touch her, the wind picked up again, this time swirling with an otherworldly power. The surface of the lake began to churn, waves rising from its depths like angry serpents. A figure emerged from the frothing water, tall and cloaked in mist, its face obscured by the swirling spray. "Leave this place," Faye boomed, a voice that resonated with the power of the mountains themselves. "These children belong to the mortal realm." The Fae recoiled, their bravado replaced by a flicker of fear. They exchanged panicked glances, the blue glow around them dimming. "We shall return," one of them hissed, throwing Morwenna a look filled with vengeful promise. Then, with a final ear-splitting shriek, they vanished into thin air, leaving behind an unsettling silence. The figure from the lake turned towards Morwenna, its form solidifying into that of a wizened crone, her eyes pools of ancient wisdom. "The test of the eggshell has revealed their true nature," the crone rasped. "But remember, mortal, the Fae are not easily thwarted. They will watch, they will wait, and they will seek vengeance." With that, the crone too faded away, leaving Morwenna alone on the shore, the weight of the twins a comforting burden in her arms. Relief washed over her, tinged with the lingering knowledge of the battle just won and the wars yet to come. But as she clutched her children close, she knew she would face whatever darkness the Fae threw her way. The love of a mother, after all, was a power that even the fair folk couldn't extinguish. News of Morwenna's courage and the wise man's intervention spread like wildfire through the valleys. Twt y Cymrws, once a place of strife, became a symbol of unwavering maternal love and the resilience of the human spirit. But in the hushed whispers that drifted through the village on moonlit nights, a warning echoed: the Fae were not vanquished, merely biding their time. And Morwenna, forever marked by her encounter, knew that vigilance would be the price of her victory.